Royal correspondent Cameron Walker has all the juicy details.
Well, yes, they did talk.
Ooh.
There's photographic evidence of them talking.
On the front page of a newspaper.
Yes, in the Mail on Sunday. The Director of Communications of Buckingham Palace, one of the King's right-hand men, Tobin Andre, meeting Meredith Mains, who is basically Harry and Meghan's right-hand woman, and their new UK PR person, who's a guy called Liam Maguire. They were photographed at a private members' club just a stone's throw from Buckingham Palace on Wednesday.
Yeah.
I'm told Sussex camp, at least, are very frustrated with the leak. At Buckingham Palace, who never do, are not commenting. But it's a huge coincidence that the paparazzi photographer just happened to be there to capture the moment. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to get to the bottom of it. When I do, I will, of course, bring you guys up to date.
Tell me this, get to the bottom of this for me. If I had appointed new PR people to represent me in the UK, what change of tack are they going to take? What are they going to say? Look, Harry, let's start again. Here's what we're going to do.
Well, I don't think they would have taken that meeting without Prince Harry's blessing. So Harry, I think, and the King, I think, want to have some kind of reconciliation here. Now, if there is some kind of reconciliation, it's very much only preliminary meetings.
I noticed you said Harry and the King. You didn't say Harry, the King and William.
And William. No, William's team not at that meeting. A number of the papers reporting this morning that Prince William's team were not invited. I know that people close to Prince Harry have not met those close to William. I think the first step is going to have to be the King, because His Majesty clearly loves his son. Prince Harry has said on the record that he wants to reconcile with the King, but Prince Harry has also said that certain members of his family will not forgive him for Spare and the Netflix series and so on and so forth. He didn't specify which members of his family, but when I speak to people close to William, when you mention Harry to them, the barriers go up. So I think that's going to be much tougher for Harry to break through, which is why the first step really is going to be the King. So I think it's more about, making sure there's no diary clashes or coming up with perhaps some preliminary discussions as to a way that they could see each other. For example, Prince Harry is expected to be here in September for the World Child Awards, one of his patronages here in the UK. And then, of course, looking ahead to Invictus Games in 2027. Is that a chance for a proper public reconciliation?
Didn't Harry extend an invite to all his family to the Invictus Games?
Yeah, that's what we're led to believe. So email invitations went out and formal invitations will go out a little bit later on. Of course, the King's diary and Prince William's diary are booked up months, if not, years in advance. Hence, the invitations have gone out quite so quickly. I'm getting a sense that Prince Harry's team is wanting to perhaps pivot here and change tack. They don't want to create more wars, I don't think. So I think watch this space. As I said, very early days, and we'll have to wait and see. But it's a promising step that three people from both teams are talking at the same time.
Cameron, I hate to go down the Yoko Ono theory route, but what about the women involved in this?
Well, Catherine and Meghan.
Yes.
Well, Meghan is clearly very, prioritising at the moment her business, as ever, in California. Clearly, she's going to want what's best for her husband, Prince Harry, but Prince Harry won't let her come to the UK, even if she wanted to, because of a security issue. And at the moment, that's at a stalemate. Either Harry goes to the Supreme Court to try and get the downgrading of his security overturned, or he successfully lobbies the government to change the law. At the moment, we don't have any details on either of those things. So Meghan coming back to the UK, unlikely as things stand.
Do you think Catherine will ever forgive Meghan over some of the revelations in the interviews in the book?
Well, we haven't heard much from Catherine or those close to her about what she thought of the book or any of it. We've heard, from people close to William saying he was deeply upset. Catherine, I feel like maybe could be a bridge one day. We'll see. I think she's got enough on her plate with 3 young children and recovering from cancer.
Recovering from cancer, yeah, indeed. Cameron, thank you very much. Cameron Walker there on the Royal
Sussex Squad family, welcome back. You know what time it is. Get comfy, grab your drink and settle in, because today we're diving deep into yet another manufactured controversy from the royal gossip machine. This time, they've dusted off Princess Anne and tried to drag her into the chaos with this headline: Princess Anne may find it hard to forgive Prince Harry following peace talks with King Charles. And just like clockwork, here comes the press using her name to create division and stir drama, just when real progress might be happening behind the scenes. But we see it for what it is, and we're not falling for it. So let's talk about what's really going on. Earlier this month, representatives for King Charles and Prince Harry sat down for what are being described as peace talks. And this wasn't just a casual catch-up between family members. No, these were strategic talks, serious conversations about the future. On Charles's side, we had Tobin Andre, the King's Director of Communications. On Harry's side, you had Meredith Maines, head of his household in California, and Liam Maguire, Harry and Meghan's UK-based PR chief. This wasn't some unsubstantiated rumour. This was a real, verified meeting that signals the possibility of progress between father and son. But let's be honest. When Harry and Charles are seen trying to build bridges, it threatens the entire foundation of the press's cash cow, the never-ending family feud. If Harry and Charles start healing, who will the royal rota smear? If the exiled prince becomes the reconciled son, how will they keep the outrage machine running? So naturally they needed to shift the narrative, and who better to use than Princess Anne? Now, Princess Anne has always had a certain respect from the public. She's known as hard-working, blunt and dedicated. She doesn't crave attention, and so the press loves to use her as this symbol of quiet loyalty. But now they want us to believe she's deeply offended by Harry, that she may not forgive him for being disloyal to the monarchy. Let me just say this loud and clear. Harry has nothing to be forgiven for. Choosing peace, protecting your wife, standing up to racism, prioritising mental health, none of those things are crimes. They are acts of bravery. And let's be clear, this idea that Harry betrayed his family by speaking out is built on a lie. Harry didn't betray anyone. He exposed the truth. He broke the silence that kept generations trapped. And he's been honest about the impact that institution had on him and Meghan. How the palace failed to protect them. How deals were cut with the press behind their backs. How smears and innuendos were weaponized to isolate them and control them. That's not betrayal. That's survival. That's someone saying, I've had enough. I will not let my wife be destroyed. I will not let my children grow up in this. So for Jenny Bond, this so-called royal expert, to now suggest that Princess Anne sees Harry as disloyal is not only baseless, it's manipulative. There's no quote from Anne, no confirmation, just Jenny Bond's suspicion based on her own assumptions. And we all know how the rota works. They create fiction, sprinkle in a little speculation, then dress it up as fact. All to cast Harry once again as the villain. They say Anne might have mentored Harry, that she could have taught him that being second-born isn't a burden, but an opportunity, that she's shown how a spare can be a loyal support to the monarch. But let's not act like Harry was just whining about his position. What Harry endured was decades of being used as the scapegoat, of being sacrificed in press stories to make his brother look better, of being sidelined, manipulated and ignored while the monarchy protected others at his expense. Anne didn't have to live through that. She may have been second-born, but she was never a threat to the heir. She wasn't used as a decoy. She wasn't married to a biracial woman while being hunted by racist tabloids. She wasn't raising kids under the constant threat of harm. So while Anne may have done her duty and shown up to her 474 engagements in 2024, her experience and Harry's are worlds apart. And you can't mentor someone through trauma you've never had to survive. And this is what they constantly do, use one royal to shame another. It was Charles who was hurt by Spare, then William who was furious, then Camilla who was devastated. Now it's Anne who's allegedly offended. It's a carousel of outrage that never ends. But no one ever talks about how Harry was hurt, how Meghan was devastated, how their mental health deteriorated under the pressure. They only ever focus on how the firm was embarrassed by the truth. Let's be honest, what the palace and the press wanted was silence. They wanted Harry to accept it. They wanted Meghan to smile through the abuse. But Harry said no more. And he didn't just walk away. He told us why. He exposed the system. He broke the generational cycle. And he gave a voice to every person who's ever felt like they were being sacrificed for the comfort of others. And let's not ignore the timing here. The press starts pushing this Anne can't forgive Harry narrative right after news of peace talks between Harry and Charles leaks out. Coincidence? I don't think so. They're trying to poison public perception, trying to shift the conversation away from reconciliation and back to conflict, because a happy, united royal family is boring to them. They need drama, they need division, and they will drag anyone into it to make that happen. But here's what they don't understand. The world has changed. We no longer accept blind obedience as a virtue. We don't see silence as strength. We respect those who speak up, who walk away, who prioritize their mental health and their families. And that's exactly what Harry and Meghan have done. They've built a new life on their own terms. They are raising 2 beautiful children. They are running a thriving foundation. They are supporting veterans, women, communities. They are building something real. And they're doing it without the toxic weight of the institution dragging them down. Meanwhile, the palace continues to leak, spin and scramble. Charles's approval ratings are slipping. William is under pressure. The royal family looks more out of touch by the day. And yet, the press still wants to focus on whether Anne is mad at Harry. Please. At the end of the day, this isn't about Anne, this is about control, about reminding Harry that if he wants peace he must grovel, that he must seek forgiveness from people who never protected him. But Harry doesn't owe anyone that. He has already done more than enough. He has shown more grace, more growth and more maturity than most of that family ever has. He travelled to see his father during his cancer treatment. He's been open to dialogue. And he's never once disrespected Anne. And Meghan, our Duchess, is a class act. She never retaliated, never clapped back. She kept her head high while being dragged through the mud, and look at her now, empowered, building a brand, supporting causes, loving her family, being an example. That is what real royalty looks like. So no, we're not buying this Anne is disgusted storyline. We reject it completely. Whether she feels that way or not, it's irrelevant. Harry doesn't need forgiveness for walking away from dysfunction. He needs to be celebrated for surviving it. And that's exactly what we'll continue to do right here. Princess Anne may find it hard to forgive Prince Harry, following peace talks with King Charles. The Princess Royal has long been a loyal supporter of King Charles. Princess Anne may struggle to forgive Prince Harry if the royal rift between the Duke of Sussex and King Charles was to be healed. Earlier this month, representatives of the King and his youngest son met in London to discuss potential rapprochement. The Princess Royal has long stood loyally at her older brother's side, once supporting him and Prince of Wales and now as King. However, royal expert Jenny Bond believes Anne will have avoided the topic of Harry's exile with Charles since the Duke stepped down as a working royal in 2020. It may be that the King has discussed his family troubles with Anne, but I rather doubt that she would want to get involved, Bond began. The expert believed Anne may find the Harry saga distasteful as loyalty is paramount to the Princess Royal. I suspect she feels that Harry has been extremely disloyal to his father, his brother, and the monarchy. She might well find that hard to forgive, Bond revealed to the Mirror. The expert believed the possible colouring of Anne and Harry's relationship would be a great loss to the Duke. Anne would have been the perfect person to offer advice and guidance. Sadly, this is no longer relevant, as Harry has made it quite clear that he has no desire to return to life as a working royal, the former BBC royal correspondent explained. A particular loss to Harry would be empathetic support from Anne, given his apparent struggles with playing second fiddle to his own older brother. The Duke of Sussex wrote frequently about feeling overshadowed by Prince William in his scathing 2023 memoir, Spare. She could have told her nephew that playing second fiddle is the wrong way to look at his status, Bond explained. Instead, as she has shown, the second-born can be an invaluable support to the institution of monarchy and a vital friend, confidant and wingman or woman to the monarch. She could have explained that they are a team, a firm, working together to keep the monarchy relevant and using their platform to help charities and communities, the expert suggested. The advice would be more than just words, as Anne has recently proved to live up to her long-held reputation as the hardest working royal. Anne took on 474 engagements in 2024, once again topping the list among working royals. By comparison, the King was in second place with 372 engagements in the same time frame. Speculation over potential rapprochement with Prince Harry have swirled since it emerged representatives of Charles and his youngest son had met in London. Tobin Andrea, the King's Director of Communications, sat down with Meredith Maines, head of Harry's household in California, at the Crunch Talks earlier this month. Harry and Meghan's PR chief in the UK, Liam Maguire, was also present at the meeting. Thank you, Royal Sussex Squad, for being here, for speaking truth to power, and for riding with Harry and Meghan through every storm. If you stand with them, if you believe in healing, in honesty, and living life on your terms, then, like this video, drop your thoughts in the comments and hit that subscribe button so you never miss a moment. And if you'd like to support this channel, keep us going strong and help amplify the voices that the palace and press tried to silence, consider hitting that super thanks button down below. Your support means everything, and every contribution helps us fight the noise, correct the record, and celebrate the legacy Harry and Meghan are building. Until next time, stay bold, stay kind, and always stay Sussex strong. We see the truth, and we're not backing down.